up as our first speaker this evening with 25 years in Agile delivery. Doesn't look old enough, does he? Doesn't look old enough. So, Steve shared his...
Paying her, by the way.
Steve shared some of his credentials, and I'm disappointed that you didn't put Agile Yorkshire Steering Board at the top.
It just got cut off.
Oh, okay. So, all jokes aside, Steve is a professional trainer with both Scrum.org and Pro Kanban, which I know is not an easy thing to achieve, so
it's not
amazing.
Easy to say either.
And even more impressive as a coach is that he is one of only 3 people in the UK qualified coach through ICF, which is incredible. So we have a brilliant speaker here tonight.
Who's also a PST. There are other ICF coaches out there. I was PST and PSK, PK.
But you're here tonight.
I know.
So, yes, amazing. Yeah. So, who here is tired about hearing that Scrum doesn't work? Yeah? Okay.
Well, you're in the right place. All those that didn't put your hands up. Oh, stay.
So without further ado, perhaps Scrum isn't broken. Your understanding is. Over to Steve. Let's give him a warm welcome, everyone.
That's just a holding slide, but there's nothing here for you. I just thought I'd stick that in there because there's nothing worse than seeing this presentation before you start it. So there is nothing here for you. Nobody cares how you deliver. I'm sorry, customers don't care. Internal, external customers just do not care. They just want their stuff, okay? They want it to be done on time when you said it would be done. They want a high quality product. Nobody cares, okay, whether or not you use Scrum, Kanban, something in between, made up. The customer doesn't care. That's the end of the talk, everyone. 25 minutes talking between yourselves. So, a quick show of hands. Who uses Scrum at work? Yay! Who uses Kanban? Yay! Who uses Scrumban? A mixture of both together. Yay! Who's made their own and yay! You get this. Who, out of all of you, who regularly delivers value to a customer in 1 month or less? Ooh, there's some, yeah. Okay, that's pretty good going. That's a pretty good metric with delivering value to a customer. Because nobody cares how you deliver. They just want their stuff. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight of what's going into my head right now. I forgot to bring my glasses. These are my notes. It's going to be interesting. So, seriously, I can't see what's on my notes. In my past, I've been called a purist. She's nodding. I would argue, an observation would be, I see myself as a professional. Many, many years ago, I was a software developer. And I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore because I just couldn't keep up with all the learning new technology. But what I was good at was getting passionate about helping teams thrive, succeed in complex areas. And when I see teams struggling, I fall back onto that professionalism of doing things right. So I will say, I know you're doing Kanban, but are you limiting WIP? You're not limiting WIP, therefore you're not doing Kanban. You're doing something really close, but it isn't Kanban, so don't call it Kanban. And I took this approach and tried to make it more pragmatic, because nobody cares how you deliver. There is no Scrum police that's going to come and tell you off. There is no Kanban police that's going to come and tell you off. There's only the customer. You didn't deliver what I wanted when I wanted it. And when you did deliver it, it was rubbish. Sorry. Sorry. So what we should be doing is thinking along the lines of what it means to be a professional. We want professional people in our lives. We want doctors that are professional. We want airline pilots that are professional. We know that you can fly a plane and not be professional. We know you can be a doctor and not be professional. We've seen what happens when people aren't professional. Bad things happen. So as an industry, why is it we go, you're just being a purist, you're just being this, you're just going by the Scrum Guide, which I actually hate. People going to me, I need to put a pause there. In the Scrum Guide says you have to do this, the Scrum Guide says you have to do that. Where's the value in it? Help people understand the value and think about the professional. So, let me take you back. Nearly 20 years ago. I can't believe it's 20 years ago. So, does anybody know the significance of this date? Brett, put your hand down. Sorry, does anybody know? Brett, why is this date so significant? That is the Arsenal project. Yes, 29th of May, 2005. Brett and myself were working at Sky, and we had promised to move Arsenal's website, store, and video lounge onto Sky infrastructure away from ITV. Started it in January. We'll have it done in May. Actually, no, you'll have it done in May, because that's when the contract expires, and we need it for the first day of the season, the fixtures coming out, so you need to have it done there. Can you do it? Okay. We had no idea. Brett and myself put our lives on hold for all that time. We didn't see our families. We were working 18-hour days. It nearly killed us. And on that day, the 29th of May, I thought, shit, it can't be this. Why is it so hard? We need to make it easier. How can I make this easier? What do I need to do? I've spent time looking. I became a Microsoft Certified Solutions Developer, learning ASP.NET and all that kind of stuff, Interdev. I am really showing my age, VB6 and all that kind of stuff. I know. So, I have cut code with the best. I want to make this easy. So I started exploring, trying to work out how we could live in this complex world. Now, back to school, everybody. Has anybody come across the Stacey chart? Anybody that's been on a course with me, keep your hands down. So, thank you. Nobody. Teasing. So the Stacey chart was created by Professor Ralph Stacey, and it's a way of exploring the situation that you're in. Now, Professor Stacey, 2 axes, very similar to Cynefin, by the way. So you're all going, oh, I know Cynefin, because it's hard to spell and difficult to explain. But Stacey, for me, is a little bit easier. So along the x-axis, how? How are we going to do it? On the y-axis, what? Vague requirements at the top, clear requirements at the bottom, close to certainty, far from certainty. So for simple things, highly, highly repeatable things we can do time and time again, like making dinner, Sunday dinner. Maybe being a stonemason working on York Minster, always working on there for some reason. There is still skill and craftsmanship. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this, but it is highly, highly repeatable. This is where best practice sits, okay? Not a lot of turbulence. As a leader, do as I do, follow command and control, follow the plan. Absolutely fine. As unpredictability starts creeping in, you get into this complicated area. There's still a level of predictability, but unpredictability comes in. And this is where we go, oh, it just doesn't seem right. And this is where the expert comes in. And if you've got a dad like I had, he would come in and go, you see that? Just hit it there. But it doesn't make sense to hit the boiler on there, Dad. That's the gas boiler. Why are we hitting the gas boiler with a hammer? Just hit it. It'll work. Trust me. Bloody hell, it worked. That is expertise, years of experience. So we bring in experts when it becomes complicated to look at things and help us guide ourselves through it. Still following a pattern, still highly, highly repeatable, but we bring in experts. So we bring in good practice. By the way, hitting a gas boiler with a hammer is not good practice, okay? So don't do that. Don't say, I went to Agile Yorkshire. Nice. So, welcome to the Arsenal project. Chaos. Utter chaos. We want what, by when, and how. Every time we looked at a new page on the Arsenal website, it was different from what was previously, and the contract said you will lift it from what is there and put it straight onto the Sky infrastructure, and it will be identical. I mean, who signed that contract? Don't know. Who had to deliver it? Brett and myself. High change of turbulence, chaos. From a leadership point of view, just get it done. I don't care what you do, we'll worry about it post-live, which I think were what the words they said to us were. So, chaos. Really difficult place to live in. Really hard place to actually do any good. So, the bit in the middle, Professor Stacey calls this the complex area, the complex product domain area. High levels of uncertainty, but there is some predictability. There's still turbulence, there's still noise, but it's controllable to some extent. This is where Agile frameworks live and thrive, okay? So we use this as a tool for a conversation. Hey, how much do you understand your product backlog? Is it simple? Is it really easy to think, oh, you're down here, okay, cool. Are we across here with chaos? Oh, okay, that's really hard to be. Let's move into the why. So the complex, this is where Agile thrives, and in particular empiricism, feedback loops. So transparency, inspection, adaptation. Professor Stacey moves on and puts another third axis on there for people, and the more people you throw on a project, what tends to happen? Easier to drift into a chaotic state. Often take people away makes it easier because we're removing that complexity. Walk your stakeholders through this. This is why we need to use an Agile framework, because of high levels of uncertainty. Here, use a waterfall approach. It makes no sense that the feedback loops that you've got in Agile, Kanban, Scrum, XP, all those good stuff, it would be overkill on here. We've done this multiple times. We don't need to do testing the meal in the oven. Sorry, sirs, I'm looking at you and licking my finger. Anyway, this can be edited, can't it? Please, can it be edited? So, empiricism. Scrum's based on empirical process control theory, okay? It's not just made up. Built up around lean practices and empiricism. So, what is empiricism? Too sticky. So, 3 pillars. Transparency, inspection, I hope I've got these in the right order, adaptation, yeah. So, transparency. We all know what's going on. We all know, we can see it, we can look at it. We've got the knowledge and we understand what it is we're seeing. We are going to check our work on a regular basis, and the people checking the work have got the necessary skills to see what it is they're looking at and know what it means when that flashy red light on the boiler says error. They understand it. They're not just inspecting going, yeah, it looks broken, doesn't it? I understand it. So, adaptation. It's okay to change tactical direction based on that inspection, based on transparency. What some organizations choose to do is we're going to do Agile. Brilliant. But we're not going to allow transparency. We're not going to let you know the true budget cost. We're not going to allow you to know what the true end state is going to be. We're not going to allow you to adapt, because that's the worst thing possible when you're in this area, because we've told somebody the 29th of May, we don't want you to adapt, okay? So what some organizations do, they implement it, but put no, no, no. Agile frameworks thrive in this area here. Think of it as an engine, kind of misfiring when organizations do that. I was listening to some really great conversations at the start about, oh, we need this, we need that. It's misfiring, but yet people believe we've done the right thing. Because we've implemented Agile, we've had Agile coaches, we're going on an Agile transformation. By the way, I have no idea what the next slide is coming up because I can't see my notes. Yes! Scrum is not going to solve your problems, okay? I am not here to tell you this magic elixir or this snake oil of Scrum solving all your problems. It won't. It won't. What it will do is reveal some of them. And it's up to you whether or not you choose to address it. There's a damp patch in the corner over there. We'll ignore that, okay? Starting to get a bit bigger now. We'll still ignore it, don't worry, it's fine. It doesn't force you. Scrum doesn't tell you how to run your business either. It is a framework, it is scaffolding, it is structure. It is that. And I'm going to come back to the slide. Here, I tell you what, taking a photograph of somebody's house when they've got scaffolding up, cars stop. Scrum is here. The product, the gift you give to the business, is the house, okay? That's the house, that's the product. This is Scrum, the scaffolding around it. The fact that they've put kickboards here, so tools and stuff like that can't fall down onto this very expensive car. This isn't my house, by the way. That's not my car. I was literally walking the dog and went, need that. The fact that they've got that thing, the chute tied to the skip, so the wind, when it drops it in there. The fact that they've got this going up there to bring the tiles up there. We could take that on our backs and it could really hurt us and we could do it. We could still do it, but that is Scrum. Scrum is support, scaffolding, around something really complex. I get lots of people saying, if I had a builder coming to my house, they would tell me exactly when that extension would be built. Yes, they would. They could. Because they're in there. They're not in this section. Doesn't make sense. The bit that we live in is this, building a house. Actually, it was just building an extension, new roof. I've spent a lot of time looking at this house. I've been walking a dog in the morning. So, what is Scrum? Thank you. Now, I want you to remember these numbers. 3, 3, 3, 5. So, Scrum, at its core, oh, by the way, there's no such thing as pure Scrum. There is Scrum or not Scrum, okay? Oh, but you do pure Scrum. No, we don't. We do Scrum or not Scrum. 3 accountabilities. Scrum Guide was changed in 2020, 17th of November. It changed it from roles to accountabilities because it was the idea that, hey, we can't do Scrum in our organisation because we don't have somebody called a Scrum Master. We have the delivery leads. We have a product manager, not a product owner. But that's okay, don't worry. As long as you have somebody with the accountabilities of a Scrum Master or product owner or developers, you're okay. Oh, and when I say developers, I mean anybody that adds value to a product. So a builder is a developer. Tyler, the roofer, is a developer. They're adding value. Testers, if you take one thing away, testers are developers. Brett and I worked with a really good tester. Unfortunately, she's not here tonight, and this other guy is, no, teasing. His name's Ollie Pasale. He taught Brett and myself to be better developers. He said, Steve, you're a developer that specialises in the back end. I'm a developer that specialises in testing. That is the only difference between us. So this whole idea of developers and testers being totally different and different silos, forget it. They are developers as much as you are, and you should embrace them. Go to work tomorrow and embrace your testers. You are a developer that specializes in testing. So 3 accountabilities. Oh, and they got rid of the development team. Because there's a perceived hierarchy of the product owner and the Scrum Master. No, developers, we're all in this together. No hierarchy. 3 artifacts, which are product backlog, sprint backlog, and the increment. Thank you. Who's ever said that? Sorry, Becky. We've worked together, so she knows where my mind goes. It was a while ago. Oh, right, okay. It was when I was 5 years old. So, artifacts. Product backlog, the list of all the work that we believe we need to do. Sprint backlog, our forecast of work that we think we might need to do, owned by the developers. And the product itself. 3 commitments. Product goal. Sprint goal, definition of done. Product goal spans multiple sprints. Sprint goal provides focus for the sprint, conversation for the daily. Definition of done, commitment to quality. Yeah, when we disappear, your roof is not going to sag. It's not going to be a leak. We have built a quality product. Okay? 5 events, not ceremonies. They were never called ceremonies. They're just meetings. So, daily Scrum. Yes, not daily stand-up. That comes from Crystal Programming. You don't have to stand up. Or was it XP? Anyway, sprint planning, sprint review, not sprint demo or show and tell, sprint review. Language is really important. It sets the intent. Everybody comes together and goes, we're doing a sprint show and tell. You show me. I tell you how good it is. They don't talk like that. But we do a review. We work together as a group of people with stakeholders, and we review the stuff. And the final thing is retrospective. Okay? So, 3, 3, 3, 5. How much time have I got left?
You have 12 minutes.
Okay, cool. Let's get into Scrum, folks. This is Scrum. Say hello to Scrum, everyone.
Hello, Scrum.
Oh, geez, you really are. Okay, cool. The Scrum Master is a person that helps people understand Scrum and make sure it's enacted. Why is this valuable? Scrum's hard. It's been eroded over many years. It was actually from 86 when it was first kind of talked about by Takeuchi Nonaka in the New Development game. Jeff and Ken talking about Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schwaber. I like to just call them Jeff and Ken because I feel like I know them. I don't. presented at an UPSLA conference in 1995. 2010, Scrum Guide came around. So in between all that time from 95 to 2010, the Wild West, you can call it whatever you want. Call it a ceremony, call it whatever. Anyway, the people that actually created it, 2010, first guide. The fact you have a coach, a Scrum Master is a teacher, a mentor, facilitator, helping people to reach their full potential, working in that complex domain, back to the Stacey chart. Having somebody on your side, brilliant. Developers. Developers are the people that create the increment and give that to the customer, okay? They should collaborate with each other because not everybody has all the skills they need in here, but collectively they have all the skills needed to create the increment of value. They don't work in silos and they're stable. And by that I mean that if Triangle Head disappears for a couple of days out of each of the sprint, that's going to cause the team to not be very efficient. Thank you. So these people create the value. Product owner. This person setting the tone, setting the direction, should be interested in budget, return on investment, total cost of ownership, defects, trends, the health of the product. Everything they do should be for the good of the product. And they do that by using the product backlog, this list of all the work that we know we should be doing to deliver value, or we could do to deliver value. Product owners are accountable for there being a product backlog. Make it transparent, make it visible to all to be seen. Don't hide it away from the stakeholders. The sprint backlog, let's move that across there. The sprint backlog is the forecast of work that the developers believe that they need to do in order to meet the sprint goal, okay? It can change and should change as we learn more about it. The increment is the gift we give to the customer, the business. At the end of the sprint, at least once, we should give an increment of value to somebody. The product goal spans multiple sprints. Links to the vision. Product goal helps provide focus over multiple sprints. Product owner creates and crafts the product goal. Collectively with the developers, the product owner crafts the sprint goal. This is our focus for the sprint. This is what the conversation should be around in the daily Scrum. Not what I did yesterday, what I'm doing today, I don't have any impediments, because that's a daily stand-up and that's really boring. But why don't we get together and have a conversation around moving towards a goal that's going to deliver value to somebody. And we're going to know it's of high quality because we've got the definition of done. So whether or not it's asterisk head or triangle head says it's done, we know documentation has been updated. It's been put into source safe. Source safe should definitely show my age now. GitHub. Got into all this other stuff, doing that kind of things. It's testing, it hasn't failed. We need a vision though, because from the vision, all other decisions should be made. So we've got stakeholders involved. They have an input. Now, a sprint is a window of opportunity to deliver value, 1 month or less. We just sprint. There is no hardening sprint, no testing sprint, no release sprint. We sprint. We are delivering value to a customer. The first event, sprint planning. How long do you spend in sprint planning normally, for those people that do Scrum? An hour. Yeah. How long is your sprint?
2 weeks.
8 hours or less for shorter sprints. They're usually shorter, is the time box for sprint planning. Product owner provides the why this sprint is valuable, what I would like to achieve. The developers provide the how. Is it possible? No, yes, we could do more. Brilliant, cool, great. Coming out from here, we have our sprint backlog, our forecast of the work that we think we need to do in order to meet our goal. Every day, the developers are going to get together to talk about progress towards that goal. Hey, I'm really struggling trying to get this bit fixed. Hey, I'll work with you on that. Okay, but on your work, yeah, it'll be fine. If it's one conversation we're going to have with our stakeholders in the sprint review, it is the sprint goal. That's the bit that's important to them. Otherwise, why are we working on it? Irrespective of the time box of the sprint, 15 minutes. The next event, sprint review, not sprint show and tell, not sprint demo. Here is an opportunity for the stakeholders and everybody to get together, talk about the vision, talk about the product goal, talk about the sprint goal. Demonstrate done work. Only ever done work. You don't go to a restaurant and they don't serve you half-cooked food. If they did, it'd be chicken and you'd be poisoned, okay? So why would you do it to these lovely people? Don't serve them half-cooked chicken. You could entice them and say, hey, we've got a chicken coming up later and it might be cooked. But don't show them it. So, sprint review, 4 hours or less. For shorter sprints, it's usually shorter. If you are working on a 2-week sprint and the sprint review is absolutely brilliant and you're getting lots of feedback, and you've only got an hour for the sprint review, Shit. 4 hours. We've got our stakeholders seeing the value that we are all delivering and buying into everything that we're doing because it's about the progress of the sprint. And they can give us feedback on what's going on about the outside world because we can't also look at that. Sprint retrospective, 5 minutes is coming up, by the way, folks. I've just seen a time. Opportunity for our team to get together to talk about how things are going. Processes, tools, and relationships. Maximum time box, 3 hours. For shorter sprints, it's usually shorter. What if we've got a really big problem and we can't fix it in an hour because Steve just keeps interrupting everybody? It happened. 3 hours or less. There is no pause, there is no wait before the next sprint starts. I worked at an insurance company where they'd finish this on a Wednesday. I would take Thursday off to catch up with our emails. Back on Friday. No, who's paying for that? It just starts again. When Brett and I were at the races, we used to have argumentative Thursday. Argumentative Thursday was the day when I was really tired because I was an architect and was telling people what to do. So we would have sprint review and then sprint retrospective, break for lunch, and then we go to argumentative bit of the day, do sprint planning. Oh, I can't agree with anything, so we changed it. So sprint review, sprint retrospective was on a Wednesday. I'd go home, I'd calm down. Thursday morning, I'd wake up again. Oh, lovely. We'd come and do sprint planning. Perfectly normal to do that way. One thing I've missed out, backlog refinement, an opportunity for the whole team, some people of the team, the product owner, just to go through the product backlog and maybe add some detail. It's not a it is a recommended practice. It's not mandatory. So 3-3-3-5. That is Scrum, folks. What is the one metric that Scrum asks you to have? Begins with a V. No, sorry, I lied. It doesn't begin with a V at all. Yeah, well, actually, yeah, it does begin with a V if you say a valuable increment. A done increment at least once. That is the only metric Scrum says. So if you're doing Kanban, loads of metrics, cycle time, all that kind of stuff. Scrum doesn't ask for any metrics apart from one, a done increment at least once. With a done increment, you can validate assumptions around value. Without that, you are just guessing. You are being unprofessional. Have I delivered value? I don't know. How long has it been since we've actually delivered something to a customer? 6 months. Is it still worth it? I don't know. Getting paid. We are professionals. We should be doing this. So, things that are not Scrum. Oh, no, not that one. This one. Story points, not Scrum. Person that invented story points has since apologized for ever creating them. Story points are a great conversational piece, though. We'll talk about relative sizing. Use them, but do not do maths on them. Daily stand-up comes from extreme programming, not Scrum. No. Burn up, burn down charts. They were, but they've removed them now. Measure your progress however you want. Velocity, not part of Scrum, folks. Counting story points to get your velocity, not part of Scrum. Doesn't tell you how to do stuff. Scrum's really rubbish at this, by the way. Definition of ready, not part of Scrum. Can be used as a gatekeeping exercise to stop work coming in. What Scrum says about ready is if the developers believe they can get it done in the duration of a sprint, it's ready to come in. There you go. Jira, not Scrum, not Agile. It was a bug tracking tool that they've just added stuff on. User stories, not part of Scrum. Product backlog item. A user story could be a product backlog item, and you use them. Scrum of Scrums, not Scrum. Fixed sprint backlog. No, it should move as you work out what's going on. Sprint demo, show and tell. Must release at the end of the sprint. You can release at any time during the sprint, but just release at least once. Good Scrum teams, which I've worked with, release multiple times. Because if your mortgage was dependent on you releasing, you'd be releasing a hell of a lot more and a lot quicker. You get paid every time you released. Scrum of Scrums, that's it. So, is it time we just reconsidered what we think is Scrum and how we use it? What your thoughts are, all the stuff. I've just told you what Scrum is, 3-3-3-5. That's Scrum. All the other stuff that you complain about, not Scrum. If you don't get value from it, don't use it. If you do, use it. If you don't use it. Because why are you doing it? It's not part of Scrum, okay? Folks, that's it. Any questions? Sir.
Scrum Master.
Excellent. Say it loud, I'm a Scrum Master, come on!
So,
Sorry.
I feel like I could repass my PSM one example. But I think the issue I have when people, it's not usually, everyone in that diagram should understand.
Yeah.
And then there's, I've forgotten the word for it, it's not the extension, it's like the leader's guide to Scrum.
Oh yeah.
That's
The expansion
where
pack.
Yeah, but there's that new one that came out.
Yeah, I haven't read it.
It gets confused with that one. The guide for leaders, I think, but those are the ones that you need to understand this. And the awkward bit is they will hire Scrum Master, which is why, Scrum Master, but we don't do any of that. We don't have product owner. But all those things, so it's basically, it's not, oh, we do a bit of Scrum, it's not Scrum.
So you're not doing Scrum?
Yeah, it's not Scrum. So but they hire people with the title Scrum Master who then have to deal with that.
Yeah.
What is your advice? Because obviously there'll be some basics, but
I'd ask.
it's how you then deal with people who have gone, we want to do the A for Agile, we want to do Agile, that's good, right? It's better than all. And then they go, how do we do that? The most popular framework is Scrum. And so what they do, they hire Scrum Masters before they understand any of this, and you're not enabled to do this, and then you're sort of with the Scrum Master going, I know all this stuff, I'm trying to do that, but at the same time, you've got on the line because they want you to do something else that isn't Scrum, and you've even got a choice but to go fight their language, basically. So they go, no, you're not allowed to use that language, except for my job title, which I've probably got, it's baked into why I'm here and get paid. So that's the awkward position.
I'd encourage you to step back from using the Scrum language if it triggers people.
Doing that.
I'd start thinking about, are the people I'm working with, are they delivering value to a customer on a regular basis? Focus on that. Focus on delivering value. Forget the language for the time being because you don't have a product owner, so I don't know how work's coming into your team. So what I would start doing is highlighting the risk is increasing and predictability is decreasing, and then maybe about what steps we could take in order to change that around a little bit so we become a little bit more valuable. At the same time, I would be talking to the leaders and actually saying, hey, let's just grab a coffee. What's causing you pain? What's, if you can at that level, what keeps you awake at night? Okay, now I know that. And this is where a Scrum Master comes into that coach, the coach inside the team and outside the team. What's causing you pain? What makes you worried? Okay, financial constraints, Now I know that, I can start trying to work that through within the team so my team isn't contributing to that. So we start building up rapport. I don't care whether or not you use Scrum or not. What I care about is delivering value. And you as a Scrum Master, helping your team to do that.
Got more complexities, but I'll take over if you keep.
Well, let's talk at lunch. Let's talk at lunch. Let's do lunch. Let's talk in the break. Let's talk in the break. Helen.
Is Agile dead?
No. Agile's not dead. Agile's just become middle-aged.
With the example, it feels like it's reached a confusion threshold.
Yeah.
Because we use the language inappropriately and allow it to happen because of situations like what was described. And then I can have a conversation with a senior manager using the word product owner.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, right, we're agreeing. You've got a completely different definition, so you're having to strip down all the language and go, right, now, what do you really mean? What does Agile mean to you?
Yeah. One approach I have done is, hey, I'm curious, what's your understanding of Agile? What's your, but not as, hey, help me understand where you're coming from, and then it's that kind of process. But Agile is not dead. We've still got loads of stuff to do. We've still got loads of things to deliver. And we're still in that Stacey chart of the complex area, which at the moment, Agile frameworks are probably one of the best ways of dealing with that complexity. So Agile's not dead. It's just middle-aged. And it wants to watch the One Show, and it wants to watch Spring Watch, and that stuff. Or maybe that's just me. But it's about to go.
Do you think it's because we need to do the stuff before the prerequisites, like somewhere we need to prepare people for change before we even introduce them to Scrum? Or some kind of Agile approach?
People hate change being done to them. Yeah.
They come back and say, tried that didn't work.
Yes. People hate change being done to them. When it doesn't work, it tends to be not the way that it was delivered. It tends to be something else that's gone on outside. Maybe we didn't have product owners. Maybe we didn't have something in it it just didn't work for us at that time. We weren't mature enough. We weren't focused enough to do it. What we need to keep doing, though, is coming back to it until we find something else better that will help deliver in that complexity.
So to put it back on, like the Agile leaders out there and the trainers out there, is there an opportunity to create something to help people who are in practitioner roles to bring people through a change journey to get them into before we start talking frameworks and practices and tools and techniques.
So I would encourage every Scrum Master to become a delivery lead, to understand what it is it means to deliver and how hard it is to deliver, and come back and then start thinking about that process of how we deliver to value. Nobody cares how you do it. But what we have as Scrum and Agile expertise is that expertise in how we can help our teams to become more reliable, more predictable, less risky. Okay? Sorry.
In terms of Agile and Scrum, there seems to be a lot like overlap. But how would you describe the difference between like Scrum and Agile?
So, for me, Agile is just the ability to respond to change whilst being ruthless on value. So we're just responding to change. Scrum is an Agile framework that enables us to respond to that change. So you've got agility, being able to respond, and then, hey, here's some scaffolding around a complex thing in which we can actually live in that world that's changing all the time. So it's an Agile mindset, not thinking it's fixed. So there's one more question. Sorry.
Similar question before. Is the word Scrum dead? Do we need a new one that doesn't have this baggage?
Potentially, yeah. Yeah, I would, because everybody goes on that Scrum. Yeah. I would agree. I mean, Scrum comes from rugby. It doesn't stand for Steve can't really understand maths. It doesn't. But it comes from rugby. So it's just, they put it together. So create it. I don't care what you call it. I don't care if you call it a Scrum Master, a product owner, or whatever. What I do care about is delivering value. That's what we need to do, and that's how we're going to keep our jobs. Sorry, I feel like I've all just given you a notice now. You're all going to do the job. Sorry.
Right, another big round of applause, I think. Steve?
Thank you. Thanks for coming as well. Sorry, I should say. Thank you.